Listen, Chris Bosh has a tremendous assignment because sometimes he's defending Roy Hibbert. He's giving up about 3 inches, maybe about 30 or 40 pounds. It's a lot to ask of him, and I understand that. But damn that. I don't care. He's too skilled. And I'm not trying to say he's skilled like a Kevin McHale or a Barkley or somebody, but this is the same guy who during the season said that he considered himself a Hall of Famer. This is a guy that was the #1 option in Toronto, averaging 22 and 10. This is a guy that can score inside or out. He can step away 15 to 17 feet away from the basket and drill jump shots. He can find a way to be effective. The dude is a third option, averaging 16, 17 a game since he's arrived in Miami. All somebody is asking you to do is what you've been doing. Step away from the basket, make some shots. Be a threat. Be somebody that the Indiana Pacers have to pay attention to. Yeah, if you get killed on the boards, even though that's not good because it's more of an effort issue than anything else, it's sort of easier to understand and stomach if you're producing in other levels. But to have your game completely fall apart, you're not a factor offensively from the perimeter. You're not a factor in the post. You're not a factor with rebounding. You're not a factor in helping to stop Roy Hibbert. That's a problem, and you've got to find a way to fix it. Chris Bosh is a highly skilled basketball player. Is he one of the 50 greatest players of all time or something like that? No. But he is a highly skilled player who is incredibly valuable to his team, who should be respected. But in this series, I'm only talking about this series, he has come up incredibly small.
Yep.
And he has provided little to no assistance, which is why he has been contrite in acknowledging the obvious. You cannot be putting up 7 points and 5 rebounds. Amari Stoudemire on 2 bad knees playing 12 minutes a game gave the Knicks that much.
He did.
You simply cannot do that. You've got to find a way to give more. That's what Chris Bosh has to do, and he just hasn't done it. And oh, by the way, Indiana being physical and you coming up this small adds to the soft label that people occasionally throw in his direction. I don't feel that way about Chris. I think he could play. But in this series, he's come up too small.
How much of a break should we give him for his ankle injury? And I don't know how bad it is, but LeBron did bring it up in his post-game remarks.
I can't give him that much of a break, Skip, because bad ankle. First of all, he seems to be, I watch him out there warming up before every game. He seems fine, but more importantly than that, it don't take much to spot up and shoot jump shots.
I agree.
The jump shots that he's missing. It'd be one thing if you're banging down low, but sitting there and shooting open jump shots that you can't drain, I can't blame that on an ankle.
Okay. I'm going to give him just a little bit of a break because he is a little overmatched with his defensive assignment. Maybe it's taken a lot out of him to bang with Hibbert and West down low in a mode that he's not accustomed or comfortable with. Okay, now back to your point. Is it possible, I think it's time to raise the issue and the question here, that Chris Bosh is a classic example, and we have seen many, of a guy who won a ring last year who just wasn't quite that motivated this year to do what he did last year? Is it possible he lost just a little bit of edge psychologically, just that little bit, that 2 or 3% of effort edge, that tenacity, that fury that we saw him play with when he did come back from injury in the playoffs last year and then the finals? That was some guy, man, I hadn't seen him in Miami. Now I don't see that guy now.
Only way I would answer that question is, Skip, when they lost to the Dallas Mavericks 2 years ago, he collapsed in a hallway crying and had to be lifted up by one of his teammates. Whereas last year, he comes back and he wins it. So if there's such a thing as losing a slight edge based on that comparison, I get you. But he's a consummate professional who cares deeply about doing his job. And that's why I don't want to sit there and accuse him of such a thing in terms of losing your edge. I just think he's not being effective because he's going up against bigger, stronger dudes, and they've got him a little bit rattled.
Okay, but you know and I know, we have seen that Chris Bosh who makes a play, makes a shot, grabs a rebound. He's yelling at himself, running up the floor in a good way, like screaming at himself. I want to see that guy tonight because they're going to need that guy tonight to survive these guys.
All I'm saying is, Skip, last point. We bring it up LeBron because he's the greatest player in the world. 3 guys got paid over $107 million.
Yikes.
One guy deserved it due to his years of service already in Miami.
Definitely.
And getting those 2 to come, not to mention what he was still capable of doing. The other guy was the best player in the world. But Chris Bosh is no chopped liver. He can play significantly better than he has, and he needs to. I'm looking at all of them tonight, not just LeBron.